Welcome. Today we're reading the chapter Was Solomon Wise? Of the novel Adventures of Huckleberry Finn. Now, sit tight and let's get into it.
By and by, when we got up, we turned over the truck the gang had stole off of the wreck, and found boots, and blankets, and clothes, and all sorts of other things, and a lot of books, and a spyglass, and 3 boxes of cigars. We hadn't ever been this rich before in neither of our lives. The cigars was prime. We laid off all the afternoon in the woods talking, and me reading the books, and having a general good time. I told Jim all about what happened inside the wreck and at the ferry boat, and I said these kinds of things was adventures, but he said he didn't want no more adventures. He said that when I went in the Texas and he crawled back to get on the raft and found her gone, he nearly died, because he judged it was all up with him anyway, it could be fixed. For if he didn't get saved, he would get drowned, and if he did get saved, whoever saved him would send him back home so as to get the reward, and then Miss Watson would sell him south, sure. Well, he was right. He was most always right. He had an uncommon level head for a nigger. I read considerable to Jim about kings and dukes and earls and such, and how gaudy they dressed, and how much style they put on, and called each other and so on, stead of Mister. And Jim's eyes bugged out, and he was interested. He says, I didn't know day was so many I hain't hearn 'bout none scasely, but old King Solomon, onless you counts them king's dats in a pack of Cayuds. How much do a king get? Get? I says, why, they get $1,000 a month if they want it. They can have just as much as they want. Everything belongs to them. Ain't that gay? And what they got to do, Huck? They don't do nothing. Why, how you talk? They just sit around. No, is that so? Of course it is. They just sit around except, maybe, when there's a war. Then they go to the war. But other times they just lazy around, or go hawking, just hawking and SP shush. Do you hear a noise? We skipped out and looked, but it warn't nothing but the flutter of a steamboat's wheel away down, coming around the point. So we come back. Yes, says I, and other times, when things is dull, they fuss with the parliament, and if everybody don't go just so he whacks their heads off. But mostly they hang round the harem. Round, do which? Harem. What's the harem? The place where he keeps his wives. Don't you know about the harem? Solomon had one. He had about 1 million wives. Why, yes, that's so. I had done forgot it. A harem's a boarding house, I reckon. Most likely day has rackety times in de nursery. And I reckon de wives quarrels considerable, and dat crease de racket. Yet they say Solomon de wisest man dat ever lived. I don't take no stock in that. Becca say why? Would a wise man want to live in de mids sick of blim blammin' all the time? No, deed he wouldn't. A wise man, who'd take and buell a boiler factory, and then he could shut down the boiler factory when he want to res. Well, but he was the wisest man, anyway, because the widow she told me so, her own self. I don't care what the widow say, he won't no wise man nother. He had some de dad fetched his ways I ever see. Does you know, 'bout dat chili dat he, you zed gwin to chop into? Yes, the widow told me all about it. Well, then, warn, dat de beaten's notion in de wall. You just take and look at it a minute. Dar's de stump, dar dat's one de women, here's you dat's de other one, I Solomon, and dish your dollar bills de chili. Buffet on you claims it. What does I do? Does I shin a room, mongs de neighbors and find out which on you de bill do belong to, and hand it over to the right one, all safe and soon. The way that anybody dat had any gumption would. No, I take and whack the bill in two, and give half on it to you, and the other half to the other woman. That's the way Solomon was gwin to do with the chili. Now I want to ask you, what's the use that half a bill? Can't buy nothing with it. And what use is a half a chili? I wouldn't give a dern for 1 million But hang it, Jim, you've clean missed the point, blame it. You've missed it 1,000 mile. Who? Me? Go, long. Don't talk to me, 'bout yo, pints. I reckon I know sense when I sees it, and they ain't no sense in sick doin's as dat. The spute warn't 'bout a half a chili, the spute was 'bout a whole chili. And the man dat think he kin settle a spute 'bout a whole chili with a half a chili don't know enough to comin' out in the rain. Don't talk to me 'bout Solomon, Huck, I knows him by de back. But I tell you, you don't get the point. Blame de point. I reckon I knows what I knows. And mind you, de real pint further it's down deeper. It lays in de way Solomon was raised. You take a man that's got only 1 or 2 chillin, is that man gwin to be wasteful o' chillin? No, he ain't. He can't afford it. He know how to value em. But you take a man that's got about 5 million chillin running round de house, and it's different. He is soon chop a chili in two as a cat. Days plenty mo. A chili two, mo, less. Won't no consequence to Solomon, dad fetch him. I never see such a nigger. If he got a notion in his head once, there won't no getting it out again. He was the most down on Solomon of any nigger I ever see. So I went to talking about other kings, and let Solomon slide. I told about Louis XVI that got his head cut off in France long time ago, and about his little boy the dolphin, that would ain't been a king, but they took and shut him up in jail, and some say he died there. Ho, little chap, but some says he got out and got away, and come to America. That's good, but he'll be pooty lonesome day ain't no kings here, is day, Huck? No, den he can't get no situation. What he gwin to do? Well, I don't know. Some of them gets on the police, and some of them learns people how to talk French. Why, Huck, don't, do French people talk the same way we does? No, Jim, you couldn't understand a word they said, not a single word. Well, now, I be ding busted. How did that come? I don't know, but it's so. I got some of their jabber out of a book. S'pose a man was to come to you and say, "Polly-vous Franzy," what would you think? I wouldn't think nothin'. I'd take and bust him over the head, that is, if he warn't white. I wouldn't low no nigger to call me dat. Shucks, it ain't calling you anything. It's only saying, do you know how to talk French? Well, den, why couldn't he say it? Why, he is saying it. That's a Frenchman's way of saying it. Well, it's a blame ridiculous way, and I don't want to hear no mo about it. Dey ain't no sense in it. Looky here, Jim, does a cat talk like we do? No, a cat don't. Well, does a cow? No, a cow don't, nuther. Does a cat talk like a cow, or a cow talk like a cat? No, they don't. It's natural and right for em to talk different from each other, ain't it? Course. And ain't it natural and right for a cat and a cow to talk different from us? Why, mos holy it is. Well, then, why ain't it natural and right for a Frenchman to talk different from us? You answer me that. Is a cat a man, Huck? No. Well, then, they ain't no sense in a cat talking like a man. Is a cow a man? Is a cow a cat? No, she ain't either of them. Well, then, she ain't got no business to talk like either one or the other of em. Is a Frenchman a man? Yes. Well, then, dad blame it. Why don't he talk like a man? You answer me dat. I see it won't no use wasting words, you can't learn a nigger to argue. So I quit.
Did you enjoy today's chapter of Adventures of Huckleberry Finn? Why not subscribe and ring the bell?